World War I, the Great War that shaped the modern world. World War I, often referred to as the Great War, was a global conflict that occurred from 1914 to 1918. It was a war of unprecedented scale and brutality, involving many of the world's great powers and reshaping the political, social, and economic landscapes of the 20th century. This essay will explore the causes, major events, and consequences of World War I, shedding light on the factors that led to its outbreak and the profound impact it had on the world. Causes of World War I. 1. Nationalism. Nationalism played a significant role in the outbreak of World War I in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Many European nations were gripped by fervent nationalism. This intense pride in one's nation often led to competition and rivalries among nations, as each sought to assert its dominance and expand its territory. Nationalist sentiments fueled tensions between countries, making them more susceptible to conflict. 2. Imperialism. Imperialism, the practice of powerful nations extending their influence and control over weaker territories, was another contributing factor. European powers were engaged in a fierce competition to acquire colonies and expand their empires. The scramble for colonies created rivalries and conflicts, especially in Africa and Asia, where various nations sought to exploit the resources and establish dominance. 3. Militarism. Militarism refers to the arms race and the belief in the power of military strength. In the years leading up to World War I, major European powers, including Germany, Britain, and France, engaged in an arms race, rapidly expanding their armies and navies. This not only drained national resources but also created an atmosphere of distrust and suspicion among nations. 4. Alliance systems. Europe was divided into two major alliance systems before the war. The Triple Entente, consisting of France, Russia, and Britain, opposed the Triple Alliance, which included Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. These alliances were intended to provide security, but they also created a complex web of obligations. When tensions escalated, the alliance systems drew multiple nations into the conflict. 5. Assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The immediate trigger for World War I was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary on June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo, Bosnia, by a Serbian nationalist. This event set off a chain reaction of events as Austria-Hungary issued an ultimatum to Serbia, which led to a series of declarations of war and the involvement of various countries. Major events of World War I. 1. Trench warfare. Trench warfare became a defining feature of World War I on the Western Front. Soldiers dug intricate networks of trenches that stretched for hundreds of miles, creating a stalemate where neither side could make significant advances. The conditions in the trenches were deplorable, with soldiers enduring mud, disease, and constant threat of death. 2. Battle of the Somme. The Battle of the Somme, fought from July 1 to November 18, 1916, was one of the bloodiest battles in history. British and French forces attempted to break through the German lines, resulting in massive casualties on both sides. The battle illustrated the horrors of trench warfare and the devastating toll it took on human life. 3. Russian Revolution. In 1917, the Russian Revolution erupted, leading to the overthrow of the Romanov dynasty and the establishment of a communist government led by Vladimir Lenin. Russia's withdrawal from the war had significant consequences, as it allowed Germany to shift its forces to the Western Front, intensifying the conflict there. 4. Entry of the United States. The United States initially remained neutral in World War I but entered the conflict in 1917 after the interception of the Zimmermann telegram, in which Germany proposed a military alliance with Mexico against the United States. The entry of the United States provided a much-needed boost to the Allied forces. 5. Treaty of Versailles. The war came to an end with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles on June 28, 1919. The treaty imposed harsh penalties on Germany, including territorial losses, disarmament, and reparations payments. It also established the League of Nations, an international organization aimed at preventing future conflicts. Consequences of World War I. 1. Human cost. World War I had a staggering human cost, with millions of soldiers and civilians losing their lives. The war introduced new, deadly technologies such as machine guns, poison gas, and tanks, which increased the lethality of combat. Entire generations were scarred by the physical and psychological trauma of the war. 2. Political changes. The war led to the collapse of several empires, including the Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian empires. New nations emerged in their wake, redrawing the map of Europe and the Middle East. The Russian Revolution resulted in the establishment of a communist government and the eventual formation of the Soviet Union. 3. Economic consequences. The economic toll of World War I was immense. European economies were severely damaged, and the cost of the war pushed many nations into debt. The reparations imposed on Germany by the Treaty of Versailles contributed to economic instability in Europe and played a role in the lead-up to World War II. 4. League of Nations. The League of Nations was established with the hope of preventing future conflicts through diplomacy and collective security. While it had some successes, it ultimately failed to prevent the outbreak of World War II, leading to questions about the effectiveness of international organizations in maintaining peace. 5. Seeds of future conflicts. World War I planted the seeds of future conflicts. The harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles and the resulting resentment in Germany contributed to the rise of Adolf Hitler and the outbreak of World War II. Additionally, the redrawing of borders in the Middle East during and after the war created tensions that continue to shape the region's politics today. World War I was a cataclysmic event that forever altered the course of history. Its complex web of causes, brutal trench warfare, and far-reaching consequences continue to shape the modern world. The war's lessons, both in terms of the devastating cost of conflict and the importance of international cooperation, remain relevant as the world strives to maintain peace and stability in the 21st century.